Writing scientific research article. The formats that is start from introduction, format for the paper, editing the paper, conclusion, and final reference. So the guidelines for writing research article to publish in a professional scientific journal generally vary from journal to journal based on the manuscript guidelines followed by the particular journal. However, must be most of the journal follow the nearly same format as we are going to discuss. So the true value of any research is only realized when the results are subject to peer review and then published in journal. So the research paper format, the author presents the research format in the start with the title, then author name, abstract, introduction, materials and methods. Results should consist of tables and figures and discussion, acknowledgement and reference. And always the title should be specific and it should be appropriate to the intended audience, and it always describe the subject matter, and it should summarize the results, and overall it should be eye-catching. And when you are writing the title, make sure it should be concise, informative, and generally it should not exceed more than 10 to 12 words. And the author, the person who did the work and wrote the paper is generally listed as the first author. And for published article, other people who made some contributions to the work are also can be listed as co-authors. An abstract should be brief, concise, and factual, and it should give the reader a preview of what's to come and allow the scientist to quickly scan the large scientific literature, and it should be little less technical, and it should be one paragraph that is 100 to 250 words. It should summarize the purpose, methods, results, and conclusion of the paper, and no abbreviations is allowed, and it should be able to stand alone without any footnotes. And that abstract must be followed by 3 to 5 keywords of indexing purpose. And the introduction, so the introduction is the summarize of the relevant literature so that the reader will understand why researchers interested to the particular topic. So that's what the introduction will be started with the research question. So it will be 1 to 4 paragraphs should be enough. End with the sentence explaining the specific question researcher asked in the experiment. Coming to the materials and methods, so this section includes a brief description of the research methodology, and mainly it involves the research design, research setting, target population, sampling technique, inclusion and exclusion criteria, for the example, sample size, description of research tool, reliability and validity of the research tool. So it should be enough information to be allowed, and it may be helpful to include a diagram, or even we can make it a form of schematic representation of research design in a form of flow chart, and it always include the preliminary result that we are using the diagram, and mention the ethical consideration. And here we should also add the plan for data analysis. That the materials and methods. Coming to the results, so the results actually it includes the presentation of the analyzed study results through tables, illustrations, and brief descriptions. So here we should not discuss the results or speculate or why something happened that goes in. So because that mainly we will be highlighting the discussion part. And here not necessarily we have to include all the data and use only appropriate method of showing the data which is relevant for the journal, and no need to manipulate the data. And here the tables and graphs, it always include the title. The table should have a title, and for graphs, we have to label it as X and Y axis. No need to use a table or graph just to be a fancy. Only the relevant tables and graphs only should be included. And always try to highlight most significant results and how the results originate. So from your result itself, you should try to give answer for your research question and correlate whether your result is supporting the hypothesis which you have stated in the earlier chapter, and make sure the results is consistent with what other investigations have reported. And if the results were unexpected, try to explain why and other interpretation of the results, and always try to answer your research question and how do results fit in the big picture. And end with one sentence summary of the conclusion emphasizing why it is relevant. So the acknowledgement is the section. It's an optional. Only we are giving thanks those who have helped throughout your research process, and the people those who have done some contribution, such as making a protocol or validated your tool, or some person maybe has joined with you as an iterator reliability, and even someone maybe that help to collect the data or something else like that, we can acknowledge them. And the references in most of the health science journals, the references are presented by using the Vancouver style. So in the test, the literature in the appropriate place. Here a few examples has been given. So the name of the author and the book and the year of publication. So always make sure you're writing the references in alphabetical order. So the references, that is the literature cited. So a major part of writing assignment consists of rewriting. Always you have to rewrite before finalizing your content. So write clearly, write accurately, write succinctly. That is, you should be write in a simple manner, concise manner, and always don't forget to check the grammar, spelling, and your punctuation. And write clearly. So write at a level that appropriate for the audience. So first of all, you should understand the audience, and always use the active voice because it will be clear and more concise. And use the first person. Avoid dangling participants. And write accurately. Make sure the example, the rats were injected with the drug. You have to write the injector. I injected the drug into the rat. So be careful when you're formulating the sentence, your verbatim, your grammar, so your punctuation, you have to give more attention. And use verbs instead of abstract nouns, and use strong verbs, short words, and concise form, and short sentences. And always use a spell checker, and don't catch all the mistakes, and don't use unnecessary commas, and proofread carefully to see if any words out. And And coming to the conclusion, this session of the article presents the summary of what you did and found, also presents the recommendation based on factual research findings. So writing a good paper starts with a good presentation. So the pivotal point is identifying the question that is going from the basis of the research. So a good research paper represents a good researcher. So the researcher should be very careful when you are preparing your paper for presentation.